This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Theresa May is now Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I have with me people who've been living here for many years and established themselves in their own fields here in the UK, particularly from the Indian community. And I'm going to ask each of you what your wish list is. If you got to meet Theresa May for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, what would you tell her? What would you want from her?
I would like her to ensure that she works to preserve the British value of life and living in this country.
Which is what?
Which is patience, liberalism, and ensuring that everybody has space. I have lived in this country with my sticker on my forehead,
Yes.
my bindi, and I live on my terms, and this country has allowed me to do that. And I would hope that I'm able to carry on being myself and have space for everyone in this part of the world to live on their own terms.
Yes, give a little space for everybody. By the way, I love your bindi, and it is just so distinct and so Indian that it makes us feel at home, frankly, when we look at you. What is your wish list?
My wish list for Theresa May is on immigration.
Okay.
She should go soft on immigration. She is supposed to be a highly inflexible woman, very difficult to get along with. This has been repeatedly said in the news and in the media. Now the problem that most of the Indians here have is they're very uncertain about their future. Those who are on tier 2 visas, saying they're wondering how long they'll be able to continue under the present regime, because David Cameron was in favor of migrants. Well, it's one thing that UK has understood, but not the present PM, that a country can thrive only when there are migrants freely flowing into the country and to work
skilled
hard.
people who
Skilled
also-
people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very professional people. Yes, important point indeed, because she's known to be a hardliner, particularly on the issue of immigration. But I have been meeting so many skilled professionals over the last few weeks who've been so upset because everybody has a little stake in this Brexit or otherwise. But it is very apparent now that Brexit is going to happen eventually, because she says that a second referendum is ruled out and a Brexit means Brexit. But all of these people have concerns over how the pound has fallen so much that when for an Indian it means sending back home becomes that much more complex, because it means that much less in terms of rupees. What's your wish list, by the way?
I'm very proud. I mean, look, I actually voted to remain.
Okay.
I have to put that on the table. Most of us who work in the universities, and I do, and those of us who work for the arts, we've all voted to remain. And we were totally surprised by this referendum result. But we are very happy that Theresa May is going to be our Prime Minister, and she is a woman Prime Minister, and this is a new trend. And as a feminist and as an Indian woman, I'm very happy for that. But I really do hope that she will, as Meera has said here, continue the vision of a commitment to diversity. And both in education, in arts, and upholding the values of liberalism,
Sure.
which we cherish as
Sure.
Indians in this country.
Sure. What is your wish list? What is that one thing tomorrow when you wake up? What do you want your Britain to be like?
Well, obviously, with Brexit, university funding, as you mentioned, is something that's a little bit of a contentious issue. So, as a student, my main concern is that there's no harm done to that funding, and that everyone has the same opportunities that they did before. Also, as a science student, science funding is something that's quite at risk as a result of Brexit. And you also mentioned immigration. That's something that I also feel quite strongly about, because I personally wouldn't want to deny future generations the opportunities that I had as a result of my parents coming here in the 90s. Being in this country has given me some amazing opportunities, and I think other second generation Indians deserve to have that too. And diverse community is really what makes Britain what it is.
Yes, a little bit of space for all, like she said. It's important you mention that. Is it really true that among the student community there's a sense of relief, because now everybody will be judged on a same platform based on merit and and you will be given a chance just as much as a European would be. Is that true? In terms of opportunities for jobs?
In terms of, I suppose so, but I think it depends on what sector it is.
What sector?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, particularly in the medical sector, we've been reporting that there is this particular test, if I may say so, which people who are non-Europeans, migrants who are non-Europeans will have to take. But now with this coming through, many students, particularly from the Indian community, were feeling a little upbeat that now it'll all be based on merit alone. Yes.
It's not just merit alone now. I think what we are seeing is a resurgence of some kind of racism. You know, that race talk is back on the table, the race talk of the 1980s, and that she must commit to a zero tolerance for this kind of a return. It is the return of the repressed, and it is horrible. I have felt it already in the last 3 weeks. Yeah, going on the bus or the taxi or whatever. It's not me imagining it, but I think the moment is different today.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. A very yes.
I think this is a worldwide phenomenon. It's brewing up all over the world, and we have to collectively work to ensure that whether it's America or whether it's England or whether it's any other part of the world, we are all working to heal, because these times are affecting everyone.
Sure.
And there is in every sector, you suddenly see eruptions at very short notice, and that is something which is affecting the whole of the world.
Sure. Sure. Well, a lot of requests here, requests and things that have added on to Theresa May's to-do list. Hopefully it'll all come through, but trust me, it's going to be an unenviable job. While it's just fantastic that the political stability will slowly, hopefully, start coming in, it's going to be an uphill task. And we know that Theresa May is someone who apparently likes to trek mountains. So trust me again, number 10. Likes cricket. Number 10 will give her just that. She's going to be climbing mountains virtually every single day.
All the best, really.
Okay,
Yeah.
good wishes and good luck coming.
All the best.
Yes,
No way.
I hope Theresa May, together with all the women of the world and women, female leaders of the world, get together and deal with it.
Theresa May has more number of women ministers in her cabinet than David Cameron did. There's Theresa May, there's Angela Eagle, who is a strong leader now in the Labour Party, there's Nicola Sturgeon in Scotland, and there's Angela Merkel in the UK. So it looks like it's an all-women war. Yo?
Yes.
Okay. Now, my question is this. If you had a chance to meet Theresa May, what would you ask her to focus on as the Prime Minister?
I would first of all say what's her view on Brexit, because all of us are feeling extremely, restless. We have questions. We are feeling disappointed at how, the British population has voted for it. And I would like her to bring in a very kind of powerful and strong thought on what is the way, for the future, because everything depends on that. Each person is affected. Each person is viewing the other person. And
Judging the other person.
I'm British Asian, South Asian, Indian.
Yeah.
I'm
Outside
feeling
Europe, inside Europe.
So I'm feeling all of that, and even though it's a Brexit for Europe, it's kind of pushed all of us in the corner, and there's a rise in crime, for racism. You see all bad things around, and it's not a happy place at the moment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whoever the Prime Minister is, it's great. She's a woman, women go live. And, but, let's all make the right decisions for the future. Let's all work towards the future. And I think a woman perhaps can bring that balance and the right opinions we need at this stage, I'm hoping. And
A woman can bring balance, hopefully, yes, and hopefully a good deal as well for Britain. But you're an investment banker.
Yes, I will be speaking in my personal capacity. I'm actually a lawyer. I work for a bank, so my views are entirely personal, not associated with my institution at all. So I am excited that so many years and a couple of decades after Thatcher, we are finally going to have a female head of state. So that might be the best thing that's come out of the EU referendum vote. But like Arunima, I have the same concerns and uncertainties about what a Brexit would mean. I don't like the incidences of hate crime, of us being made to feel like we don't belong here. So that is a fallout, and somehow I feel the referendum result has legitimized, otherwise underlying tensions, and that people feel that they can come out and make these strong statements and victimize people, marginalize them. Secondly, I do have a lot of concerns about her ideology. Now, we all know that Theresa May was a silent Remain. She didn't campaign very hard. So, but today, of course, her political statement is that she intends to implement the will of the people, which she sees as, a majority Leave vote. So how would she reconcile that? And second, there are various questions about the legality of the referendum itself. Would such a simple majority create such a big change in constitutional law, international law, and so on? So there are a lot of legal questions. There are a lot of legal questions.
Yes, this particular talk on whether the referendum is legal, in fact, a lot of people from all over the UK have signed a petition which has crossed more than 3 million signatures on having a second referendum, because the margin was just so little that people say it's hardly what the majority in Britain reflects. So this petition is going to be now debated in the Parliament on the 5th of September.
Yes.
Just FYI. However, we've also been told very clearly that it is only going to be a discussion, a debate, but it doesn't mean that there is any scope for a second referendum, because they have made it very clear that this is the will of the people. But briefly, without naming your company, will you be able to share with us just the conversations that are happening in your office space and how long you guys discuss this issue every day?
So I think it's very difficult for me to talk about that, but I can say that, like, it's not just my institution, but any other institution, company, organization, even a voluntary organization, that is in the UK, must be thinking about this, and they must be spending a lot of time debating this, thinking about contingency plans once the vote came out. As everybody knows, we were totally unprepared for a Leave result. Everyone thought status quo would continue. So that, yes, is a big concern. So are we going to really prepare ourselves in time? Remember that the time period under the EU treaty, which is 2 years from the date of serving the Article 15 notice, is a very short time. Very short time to enter into trade agreements with every EU country. We've been told that Britain does not have the required number of, staff in civil services, that perhaps they might ask the Indian civil service whether they might lend some people over, and questions of the sort.
But Arunima, very briefly, you mentioned a very important point. You said Britain's going through one of the most turbulent times, which we all know, and a woman can bring balance. What are the qualities you see in Theresa May that need to come in the forefront at a time when we're seeing just so much of negativity around?
I mean, I haven't really followed her political history, but what I've seen of her lately is that she's very dignified. She doesn't scream about, she doesn't have contradictory opinions, and she's not here to prove a point. So I think that gives me some faith in her decision making, and that's why I feel that she's balanced. She knows the way forward, she's strong-headed, and she's been fortunate to have been suddenly given, this position. There was another contender, and slowly, all of them kind of moved away, and we had an option of, another woman prime minister, but that also kind of, got eliminated. And so she's fortunate, and I think I'm kind of excited, I'm interested, and I feel a little bit confident after what has happened.
We know that Theresa May is someone who's authored apparently more than 100 cookbooks and supposed to be a great cook. So what's going to be her recipe for Britain at a time it needs some sense of healing as urgently as possible? Thank you for joining us, ladies, and women all the way, definitely in the UK, especially in the top political circuit. Thanks very much for joining us. Write your feedback, ooe@ndtv.com.